On this episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast, we talk about Spine by Myrkur. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal. We like to talk about it. And every February, we like to take some time to talk about the ladies of metal who are producing various different albums. And today we're revisiting an artist that we have not talked about in a good while.
A couple of years.
A good long while. I think we talked about her second album, maybe. I think it was the album that came out in 2016.
Sure.
I think.
This is the one from 2023.
Yeah. She had a folk album that came out in 2020 that we didn't end up talking about, probably because it's a pure Scandinavian folk album rather than you know, anything metal. But this one is about 75% folk.
Yeah.
And
folk and sort of a dream pop kind of.
Yeah, a little bit, which definitely is something that she's done before in her career. If you don't know, Myrkur is the solo project of Amelie Brun, who has produced pop music albums as well. She's from Denmark. Copenhagen. And she started producing like black metal albums under the name Myrkur in like 2013 or something like that. Her identity was a mystery for a bit, and then people were like, "Oh, this is Amelie Brun."
Right.
And then things continued from there up until this day.
Dun, dun, dun.
Or at least up until a couple years ago. I think she's still a thing.
She's still alive.
Yeah. I believe so.
She has not passed.
I didn't see anything the multiple times I searched for Myrkur about her being dead. Right. So I presume you never fucking know with Google anymore.
Right.
Google's so goddamn useless these days. I fucking hate it. I kind of want to find an alternative search engine of some kind. I don't know, like people always talk about Opera GX, but I don't think that has a search engine. That's just a browser.
Is Ask Jeeves still a thing?
I think Jeeves is retired. Okay. I think Jeeves probably took a buyout at some point and retired with that money.
I know we have computers at work that force you to search on Yahoo if you don't go to Google.
Yeah, I don't.
That's weird.
I think I tried to undo that at some point, and I couldn't. As well. I couldn't figure out how to do it. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, I've deleted it from the list of searches, and then you open up the window again, and it's back. Yeah. So I don't know what to do.
I don't know. I think Kelly did that. I don't think she did it on purpose.
Let's just blame Kelly for stuff.
The weather.
Yeah. Damn it, Kelly!
Although if she is to blame, then I guess she is also to thank for it finally warming up at the end of the week this week.
That was a pain in the ass. Yesterday I had to have my car jumped twice.
Your Honda has been perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Up until yesterday.
Yeah, when it froze.
It just froze solid.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair to your Honda, like your Volkswagen would just stop working.
Yeah.
When it hit like 5 degrees.
Sure, yeah. And if there was like a quarter of a millimeter of snow on the ground, it's like it's a no-go.
Your Honda, on the other hand, took about a week straight of nightly temperatures hitting about -30.
Right.
Before it suffered any ill effects. So congratulations to your Honda. Being unplugged the whole time, not having a block heater or anything like that.
And it started this morning at 26 below.
Yeah. That's a hardy car right there.
It is.
So yeah, but thankfully you've got a nice package.
Right.
You've got a nice.
Thanks, man.
Oh God, I did it again.
What?
I said nice package.
You did that at a remote.
That was my first remote ever.
Yeah.
I said the words nice package with emphasis a couple of times.
And I was running the board, and while I was running the board, my phone blew up. Different employees are at the radio station, like Shelly was the first one to get to me.
Did he just say nice package? To be fair, I was talking about like a prize package. It was called a package.
It was a prize package.
And I was simply calling it nice.
Mm-hmm. It was a long, hard remote. I mean,
yeah. Yep.
So that's why you had...
Well, you know, we thought about doing a smaller one. And then we were like, well, we got it. It has to be bigger, longer, and uncut.
I recently showed that movie to my youngest son for the first time.
Oh boy, I feel like that one hasn't aged well as well.
Right. Well, see, it's kind of a tough thing to say with South Park because I mean, it was rude to begin with.
Yeah, it's not like. I mean, there's a famous, not famous. The letter itself is famous, but my exposure to it was Matt Berry reading it at a live event.
Yeah.
A series of memos, or just one memo back to the MPAA from Trey Parker, detailing the things that they had removed at the MPAA's request and things that they would not remove and would not budge on, and just listing them. And by necessity, because you have to say these are the things purely from a formatting standpoint, a purely professional memo.
Right.
But the content of it is so fucking absurd that it becomes hilarious.
Right.
And that's just the nature of the South Park movie.
Right. Probably into the nature of everything they do.
Yeah, but the movie especially, they put some extra stuff like the fact that Satan and Saddam Hussein, who was not dead yet,
right at that time,
Saddam Hussein was very much. This was also 1999.
Yeah,
we weren't even at war with Iraq.
Right
at that point, we had been previously, but. Like Saddam Hussein was very much alive and in power, and in the movie, he's in hell and in a gay relationship with Satan.
Right. I think they did to clip out some scenes between them.
Yeah, I believe specifically one of the things that got cut was an explicit gay sex scene between Saddam Hussein and the devil.
Right.
Who is presented in the film as a pretty nice guy.
Yeah.
The devil's...
I don't want you to talk to me like that, Saddam.
He's nice. He's sensitive. And Saddam Hussein is... I think they just did at that point they were doing it with like all characters where they would just use the person's real face.
Right, yeah.
Where he's animated like the Canadians with the flappy head. I think I've only seen that movie once, and it was a very long time ago.
You should treat yourself to watch it again.
Rewatch it in 2025. And see how it holds up.
Yeah.
I did tell you about Casa Bonita, Mi Amor, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. My son is eating there.
Oh, at Casa Bonita?
Yeah.
Good for them.
Because he's going to college in Colorado, and he went down to, and they ended up going to. I was talking to him, and he's like, "What is this really fucking crazy Mexican restaurant?
There's a waterfall. Yeah. People dive off of it."
Yeah. It was great.
It's owned by the people who make South Park. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, there is an insane themed Mexican restaurant in Denver. Is it in Denver or is it in like Fort Collins or something like that?
It's somewhere in Colorado. I don't exactly remember.
Yeah, it's somewhere in central Colorado, the Denver metro area.
Yeah.
And it's this insane themed Mexican restaurant that's been around since the 70s, I think, in Colorado. So Matt Parker and Trey Stone went there. Trey Parker and Matt Stone. I always fuck up their last names.
Trey Stone and Matt Parker.
Yeah. Anyway, they went there as kids and had extremely fond memories of it. And so they included it in a couple of South Park episodes. And then during, like, it slowly sort of died off, throughout the 2000s. And then it closed down during COVID. And so they just decided to buy it. And make it, their project that they were going to do, and spent an insane amount of money putting it back together. And so there's a documentary about the process of them, doing this and getting this restaurant back on its feet. And it's called Casa Bonita, Mi Amor, and apparently it's extremely good.
It's in Lockwood, Colorado.
Lockwood, okay, yeah, that's got to be Denver metro area.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was just a thing they made up for South Park because it was so like the things that were featured in the restaurant were like, that'd be insane to have in a restaurant.
But no.
It's real. There's a waterfall in the restaurant and like a pirate's cove, I think. They have people who dive off the top of the waterfall. It's fucking insane. They have indoor cliff diving.
Right.
Because it was the 70s and you could do whatever you wanted.
Right. There weren't any safety standards.
If you had enough money and cocaine.
Right. I mean, that's still kind of true.
Yeah, that is kind of true. It's just the ideas are more boring.
Yeah.
People need to have better coke ideas. But it's all now it's always some fucking new cryptocurrency. Like, no, make an insane restaurant.
Right.
Make a water park or something that has a water slide loop-de-loop that's gonna kill people. Fucking recreate Action Park or something. I don't know. Maybe that's why the coke the coke ideas are worse, is because there's too many regulations now.
Sure.
Everyone knows we could use less regulations. Right. That's the problem.
That'll make things better.
Sarcasm.
Because when you want to streamline your car, the best thing to do is to tear off the axle and rip out the motor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then instead you get to save so much on gas.
Exactly.
Holy crap.
You won't spend nearly as much on gasoline. Better for the environment that way.
Streamlined our budget too. Saved $2,000 this month for the family. Didn't pay the mortgage. So we saved a bunch of money.
We can still buy food.
Yeah, it's great.
Plenty of money for food.
Mm-hmm. This can't hurt us in the long run at all.
Exactly. Exactly. Because eggs are expensive.
Mm-hmm. I knew what you were doing there.
It's one of the things in the news cycle that I like. I pop open our prep service every day and I'm like, I get it, eggs are expensive. Yeah. I get it.
Stop.
Shut the fuck up about eggs. Anyway, speaking of rage, I've been replaying Doom Eternal recently, and that's been fun.
So has my 13-year-old.
Yeah, it's as fun as I remember it being. And I'm surprised at how quickly I've kind of picked things back up, as far as like not being absolute dog shit at the game.
Right.
'Cause I feel like a couple years ago I tried to pick it back up and I was like, I suck at this now. But I committed myself to actually doing a full playthrough. I'm like, oh, this is actually not too bad. But I'm playing it on one of the lower difficulties, so that's probably why. But
Max is playing it on Nightmare.
Of course he is.
Yeah, and I woke up in the middle of the night the other night, and he was in the living room going, and I'm like, dude, you're like 6 hours into this. How are you doing that? He said, yeah, and I'm playing on Nightmare. I'm like, dude.
I used to be really good.
Yeah.
I used to be really like I could do Nightmare, not too much of a problem.
Yeah.
I don't hate myself enough for Ultra Nightmare, which is the same damage scaling, but it's just if you die, that's it.
Oh, so it's one of those.
If you die, it restarts the whole game.
What is that called again?
Ultra Nightmare.
But I mean, what is that type of game? What do they describe that as?
I mean, you're thinking of roguelike.
Yeah, roguelike.
But roguelike is not just if you die, you restart the game. There's other stuff to it. There's usually branching pathways and randomized elements and whatnot. This is just the campaign. The linear campaign starts over again, which is different. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if like I don't think they are doing this. There's also massive mod support now for Doom Eternal, which I'm sure someone has made like a roguelike mode or something like that for Doom Eternal as a mod. But seeing some of the stuff about like Doom the Dark Ages, I'm like, I wonder if maybe they would do like a roguelike mode for that somehow.
That looks like a fun game.
It looks interesting. The sheer contrast between the gameplay style of the Dark Ages and Doom Eternal, I think, will be interesting for me because, like, Doom Eternal, I guess to quote id, you're a fucking fighter jet, just zipping around, and the idea with the Dark Ages is that they make you into a tank. Like you're not zipping around, you're not dashing everywhere, you're not jumping all over the place. You are standing and fighting. You've got a shield. There's a parry mechanic. There's a melee system. Like, they want you to feel like a little bit more of a tank. Still, the ultimate, power fantasy of being a killing machine, but you're not constantly zipping all over the place. Which, seeing the gameplay, it looks really fun. And it's still very much shoot the absolute shit out of a bunch of demons.
Right.
But I'm interested to see how. One thing that I'm a little like dubious on is the fact that they're no longer using the like bespoke glory kill system,
right?
Where it plays a detailed animation. Instead, it's just the new like custom glory kills where you get to choose how you do it. It looks boring because it's just you'll do a kick and then you'll bash him with this and that and one. I'm like, yeah, but it was really fun to see the really detailed gory animation of you ripping an imp's head off,
right? Or tearing something in half.
That was fun. Whereas what they've shown of that system in the Dark Ages, it looks much less visceral, which was the point of glory kills, is that they're ridiculous and over the top, and
right.
They're still gnarly, but they're not horrifying because it's a weird, grotesque little demon that you're ripping to shreds. I remember when I replayed Cyberpunk 2077 recently, and they added some like melee finishers to that for like a couple of the different weapons. And I went, oh, that I'm gonna dream about that. I'm gonna see that in my nightmares.
I'm going to have to buy that game, by the way.
Oh, Cyberpunk?
Yeah, because the young one has played it at his friend's house. He's like, I really like that game. I want to play this other game because it's like that game. I guess we'll have to get that game.
I suppose
maybe a couple of paychecks from now.
I don't know if it's gone down in price. I would hope it has.
$50.
Okay, well it hasn't gone down that much,
right?
But it's fun. I haven't played it on a controller, so I don't know how well it controls there. I mean, if he has played it and he has enjoyed it, then I guess that's different.
He's like, you customize all of you, and I mean all of you, Dad.
Yeah, that is correct.
I said, did you give your guy a big hog? Dad, shut up.
Well, he's the one who made the innuendo.
You're the one who brought it up, buddy.
But yeah, I Cyberpunk's like glory kill, or it's not really. It's more of just a finisher because it doesn't. It's not a true glory kill because it doesn't give you stuff when you kill someone that way. But Cyberpunk's system for that, there's one where like with the gorilla arms where you just smash. You just basically clap a person's head out of existence. That one freaked me out the first time I saw it. I was like, am I the bad guy? Oh no.
Are we the baddies?
Are we the baddies? We've got skulls on our helmets. Why do the trees smell like cum?
Your Majesty, may I have a word?
British television.
Yeah. It's great.
The Mitchell and Webb look is what we're quoting. Because we're two nerds of that type where we have to quote British comedy at each other.
We're terrible.
Yeah, we're the worst kind.
Yep.
Give us a couple more minutes and we'll be spouting some quotes from Holy Grail. It's just how it goes.
Okay, that's a slippery slope, my friend.
I know. That was just like me and several of the other guys in speech when I was in high school. Huh? I think most. I think pretty much every single straight male that performed speech when I was in high school had all of the dialogue of Monty Python memorized for some reason.
Like
I don't know
the shows and the movies.
Not the shows.
Not the shows.
Really just Holy Grail, because that's the only thing that had made it into like public U.S. consciousness at that point. As far like you could watch Flying Circus, but a fucking 15-year-old in the mid 2000s wasn't going to know about Flying Circus.
But you would know about Life of Brian and Meaning
of
Life.
I don't think any of us really did. For some reason, the only thing we were aware of was Holy Grail.
Wow.
I think it's because it's the only one where like the clips had all made it to YouTube.
Sure.
At that point, because that's how we were consuming all of this.
You're talking about high school?
Yeah, when I was in high school. So 3 years ago.
It's a crazy thought to me that being in high school and YouTube existing.
Yeah, that was the whole time. The whole time I was in high school.
I had a wall phone. That's all I had.
What's a wall? This wall you speak of.
Yeah.
Is that some kind of
wall?
I was trying to think of something else old, but I don't know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything.
I don't either.
Know nothing. You know what I know?
What do you know?
I know that this Myrkur album is pretty good.
It is.
I liked it. It's definitely leans much more in the folk and occasionally into the pop areas, sort of dream poppy on occasion.
But not with
Poppy.
Poppy.
But not with Poppy.
Yeah.
But she's too busy with Spirit Box right now.
Right. With their new album coming out.
Yeah.
Wait, when does that come out?
March 4th, I think.
Okay.
The new Spirit Box album.
Into the Sea. Yeah.
Yes. But Myrkur is a Danish metal project, shall we say? Maybe not specifically black metal, though that's definitely the most significant influence she has used in this project when metal is present in it.
What was it? Dark Throne, and what were her influences on this? And Grieg.
On this album specifically?
What were her musical influences for this project?
Dark Throne. I think she's probably. I think I remember her mentioning Burzum at some point. Maybe. Right. I don't know.
But also Grieg. So.
I don't know. I don't know about Grieg.
Oh, classical composer.
Oh, yeah. That's I'm not as we discovered earlier today. Anytime I try to think of the name of a classical composer, it gets Thanos snapped.
Right. Yeah. What's this Mozart?
What's this Mozart?
This Beethoven.
Hi, I'm Beefhoven.
It's our senator who's been jacked. I'm Beefhoven.
Beefhoven. More money for the military. That's him.
That is nutshell.
Anyway, what was I saying? Myrkur.
Yeah.
This album called Spine, specifically the main thing, the thing that inspired this album is primarily that Amelie Brun is a new mother, or was at the time, still relatively new in the grand scheme of things.
She's a toddler
2025, but she had her first child, and so this album was kind of inspired by the process of giving birth to a child and raising a child and that sort of thing. So, it is. I was kind of shocked going into it, given like the name of the album is Spine, and then on the cover of the album is like a split silver spinal cord.
Right.
Like I thought it was going to be a bit nastier in some way, but no, it's gorgeous.
Right.
Absolutely beautiful album. She's an extremely talented singer as well. Very, very beautiful voice she has.
There's one part on here. What's the name of that song? The Devil. No. Devil in the Details.
Yes.
It starts off, and if you'd have played it for me, and I gone, oh, is this a new Enya song? Yeah.
Oh, who the fuck was I? Speaking of Enya, off topic. Well, I mean, it's on topic because you mentioned Enya.
Right.
But Rick Beto was talking to John Petrucci, Tosin Abasi, and Devin Townsend all at the same time. And when they were talking about like influences and whatnot, and apparently one of Devin Townsend's biggest influences is Enya. Which makes sense if you think about it. It makes a lot of sense if you think about it for a second. Like from that a half second, it's like Enya, and then you're like, oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, no, that makes sense. But I thought that was really interesting. It was also funny because like John Petrucci was talking about his influences, and then Devin was like, "What about you, Tosin?" Is like, he's sitting right there, and he pointed at John Petrucci. It's like, like that. He's the reason I'm playing guitar.
Yep.
I should try to listen to more Animals as Leaders. That's one of those bands that I've known about forever, and
they're great.
I've just never really given them the time of day for some fucking reason.
Great freaking band.
Absolutely insane instrumentals. But Myrkur. Does this album slap?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it slaps. I would say so. Like we've mentioned, it's there's not a lot of metal on this album necessarily.
Right, we get to about track 6 where it becomes metal, like the song about the Valkyries.
I would say it's 3 actually.
You said 3?
The whole end of Moth-like.
Okay, you're right.
Is very much sort of black metal tremolo picking and that sort of thing.
That's true.
Tremolo, does it matter? No. Okay. I've always said tremolo for some reason, but then I hear people say tremolo, and I guess I don't know if
I say Rolo.
Rolo.
Mm-hmm. I like me some chocolate and caramel.
Yeah.
Or caramel.
And while you're doing karaoke.
Yeah.
But looking up scores, I couldn't find a lot of reviews that actually put a number on it. Out of the ones, I found 4, and one guy gave it a 1.5 out of 5, which I thought was fucking insane.
Who did that?
Angry Metal Guy. Who?
Well,
despite the name, like the reviews I've read from that site have not always been quite so like oh, this isn't metal, I don't like it. It just I didn't read too much of the detail because I was just looking for a number to use as an aggregate score.
Sure.
But it seemed like it was not the style that the reviewer took issue with, but more just the lack of other elements they've had on previous albums that they wanted to see here.
Okay.
Which I can kind of understand, but I don't think that lack the lack of more metal on this album I don't think was a detriment to it necessarily. Sure. I don't necessarily agree with that, but because of that one awful review, it came out to about a 66.5.
Through the curve.
Yeah, everybody else gave it like an 80, or one I think was a 7.5 out of 10. So like people I think generally were more kind to this and more fond of this. But I didn't do a ton of looking necessarily. What's your favorite song?
You know, the song that made me sort of break down in the car? My Blood is Gold.
Yeah, that one's gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful song.
Yeah.
I picked Moth-like.
Sure.
I think that one has the most going on, I would say, out of the songs here. That probably the most variety. It's the most dynamic.
She's giving us the D in that one.
We were going through the big D.
Didn't mean dynamic.
Or was the big D going through us? Have I told my really bad Kenny Chestnut's joke or Mark Chestnut?
Yeah,
I have said I have also made jokes that Kenny Chesney should have an album called Kenny Chestnuts, roasting on an open fire or something like that. But there's Mark Chestnut,
right?
And I actually don't remember the full thing anymore.
I don't remember either, but I remember you came out of the studio one day. It was like your first time voice tracking our
90s at Noon section.
Yeah, for our country station, and you had this deer in headlights look in your face. What's that song about?
Oh yeah, going through the big D.
Yeah.
But I think it's something about getting spit roasted or something like that.
Something about that.
Big D going through you anyway.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Who can keep that shit in their brain? Not me. What medal do you bestow upon this album, like Mascanada de Chewbacca?
I think I'm straddling the line on this. It might be a high silver for me.
A high silver? I'd call it a silver for me as well. I don't know if I'm going to give it a high silver not, but it's a silver for me. I like it. It's not, crazy special to me or anything like that, but no, I think it's good. I wish I had some more to say. It's another short album.
It is.
Like the last album we talked about by Emasculator, that one was like 20 some minutes. This one's 30 some minutes. So yeah, I feel like the main thing I wanted a little more substance. This album felt a little ephemeral to me. It didn't feel like there was a lot for me to really sink my teeth into. Yeah. But also, I don't think that was really the point of this album. I think if you're meeting it on its own terms, it's kind of more meant to be beautiful and kind of ephemeral thing.
And the darkness I've been going through in the last couple of weeks, I mean, especially today, man, this spoke to me a lot.
It hit you. It hit you in a vulnerable spot, but a good spot.
Right.
That's how I connect to a lot of albums. I'm like, oh, does this album make me feel feelings? And I like it.
Yeah.
But next week, what do you want to talk about?
Well, I decided finally we'd be remiss if we did Female Februaries and never once ever brought up the 1988 album, self-titled album, Vixen.
By Vixen.
Yeah.
Is there a song in there called Vixen?
I don't think so.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Because I always love when that happens.
Yeah.
All right, Vixen by Vixen. What genre are we talking about?
It's glam metal.
Glam metal. Okay.
Or some might say glam rock.
Okay.
They're an all-girl band from Minneapolis.
Vixen.
St. Paul, really. Yeah.
Vixen by Vixen, not featuring the song Vixen.
Right.
Okay. Well, until then, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to our feed on whatever podcast service you are using to listen to us right now. And thank you for those of you who have already done so. And thank you for listening to another episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations. I don't know why that sounded like Buffalo Bill.
We're coming to get you, Barbara.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Hey, Barbara, would you fuck me? Fuck me.
And now I'm thinking of Pam. Buffalo Bill, but it's Pam.
No more horses.
What did you do? Did you get your nuts? I'm so sorry, my guy.
Oh my God, I almost passed out.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to...
Oh boy. Oh God, my balls. Oh. Grown men should not cross their legs so quickly.
I'm sorry.
Oh, trauma. Okay, I'll be fine. I'll suck it up.
You can take a minute.
So, you have any ice?
I do.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not gonna sit here and talk to you while icing my testicles.
I'm glad we were recording. On this episode, you know that's going on the end.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.